everyone, and welcome to our May Author Nook, our first episode of 2025, and we are kicking this year off the right way. My name is Jordan H. Bartlett. I am the author of, you can see them here, Contest of Queens, Queen's Catacombs, Queendom Come, and we've got them in French now. Oh, you might not be able to see it.
Ooh, français.
En français, exactly, because I'm here with a Canadian author. He's from the East Coast, I'm from the West Coast. A
Hey,
very Jurassic Derek Borne. Welcome, Derek.
Jurassic. I have people on TikTok that call me Dino Derek.
I love that. Welcome,
So
Dino
it
Derek.
works. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to May's episode.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. Derek is the science fiction author of a bunch of books. Dino Rift, Sarah Corpse, matching Dino Rift.
Hey, look at that. And
No
you get
way,
a
I
signed
was
copy.
just reading this. And I got signed especially. Woohoo!
There you go.
Primeval Ranch and also the Ultimate Agent series. So we will be focusing on Dino Rift. So first things off, Derek, please tell me more about yourself.
So I live in Ontario, Canada. I have been writing since I was young. I was very inspired by Robert Munsch when I was a kid. Loved his storytelling. Read Jurassic Park later in life, which of course led to my love of dinosaurs even before Jurassic Park. I mean, every kid loves dinosaurs. Let's admit it. And I knew when I started writing my superhero series that eventually I wanted to do something with dinosaurs just as kind of my homage to Michael Crichton. He is literally the best dinosaur author that I know. I'm so sad that he's gone now. But yeah, Dino Rift itself is kind of my homage and also a love letter to my fans that I've had for many years now. Also, I'm getting away from the real question, but I work a day job selling olive oil and balsamic from all over the world. So I'm a huge foodie. Pizza is my writing snack of choice. I play hockey when I can. I play guitar. I love to sing. I'm a nerd in all different ways. So all nerds unite.
Yes, we're getting banners and pamphlets soon.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit more about Dino Rift.
So Dino Rift is, fun fact, in the Ultimate Agent series, I have what's called the Helios Files. Now, through that, there's six different novellas, and one of them is called the Loch Ness Files. And so my superheroes, they come across the Loch Ness Monster. The way I explain the Loch Ness Monster is that they are aquatic dinosaurs that made their way to our time through time rifts. And so that kind of became the beginning of the idea of, okay, well, if these time rifts exist, then what would happen if a couple teenagers, were having a night to themselves and wanted to just, do a nighttime safari, break into the local museum, because who cares about a museum? Um, and they discover a time rift that's being hidden underneath the Sorcore Museum, and they get found out and they get tossed through. And my question was, how do they find their way back home?
I love it. And I really loved because I just related to it so well, where there's so many times when you're reading a book and someone finds out something they shouldn't, and my instinct
Hmm.
is just get rid of them. And so your bad guy really was like, oh, these teenagers who have parents, people who love them, they found out something they shouldn't. I'm just gonna get rid of them. And he
Yep.
did. It was
Removed from the
so good.
equation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like wiped them from the timeline, kind of gotten rid of them.
Yeah. But then the thing that I love about Dino Rift that I think a lot of people appreciated too is you've got the kids getting thrown into prehistoric times. But at the same time, this evil corporation of Sorcor is pulling dinosaurs into the present for the nefarious purposes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
there's
the
kind
old
of that,
switcheroo.
there's a lot of ethical questions to both things, right?
And while the children definitely didn't consent to being yeeted into the past, the
I don't think anyone
dinosaurs,
would.
no. Well, I think if you had a lifeline back to the present, or
Yeah.
a DeLorean that you could just jump back into.
Yes.
But yeah, no, and then the dinosaurs definitely can't say, actually, I'd much rather stay here. But
Mm,
they do cry. I
mm.
Can't believe you included the fact that the dinosaurs will cry when they're sad. That was so beautiful and
Dogs
heartbreaking.
whine, cats have a certain sad meow. I know
Mm.
that very well now that I've had a cat for 2 years. Um, Actually, my cat also has inspired a project that I'm working on right now too, because
Ah,
there's a saber-tooth tiger in Primeval Ranch, and something happens to said saber-tooth, and we don't find out until the coming soon chapter at the end of that book. But she is definitely like my fluffy inspo for the tiger.
cute. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Well, and you've mentioned a few things that have inspired you, a few authors, a few books like the Jurassic Park books. But what really did inspire you to write this novel?
Uh, yeah, like I said earlier, I've loved dinosaurs. I try to, even in my Ultimate Agent series, it's a lot about found family. And even with Cameron and Vivian in Dino Rift, they get to know a woman named Emily Ann, or EA, that's searching for her lost father. And so they kind of become familial by the end of the book. Um, I've always I've always liked to just show that there's heart in everybody. Sometimes even the villains, they have their reasons why they do things. And I know you wanted to bring up Trudy, the dinosaur. So with Sebastian, he does work for the evil corporation of Sorokor, but at one point in the book, you find out that he has his own dinosaur pet in his house.
Who's the best dinosaur?
Yeah, a lot of people love Nandy, but
Oh, okay.
Trudy is a. I've had a few people going, I want a Trudy in my own house. But yeah, Trudy is a Troodon, which is kind of like a raptor, but a little smaller, kind of between the Compsognathus, like the little green, very skinny dinosaurs we usually see in Jurassic Park. Um,
Are they the ones that eat the child with the hot dog?
those are the ones that in Jurassic Park: The Lost World, the guy goes off to go to the bathroom or something like that, and he gets
Yes,
eaten behind a log by all these tiny little Compsognathus.
that's right. And they start off super cute and get dangerous
Yeah,
really fast. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, in the original book of Jurassic Park, they actually have venomous bites. But I
Oh.
don't think they ever really did that in the movie. It's just the fact that there was so many of them.
Mm. Yeah.
I enjoyed writing Trudy as well, just showing that, Sebastian is someone that does care about the creatures.
And you do show, like you say, everyone has a bit of heart in them. You do show first Sebastian, just as I mentioned, yeeting the kids off to the past.
Mhm.
But I do love these moments alone with him where you're figuring out his personal struggles, his familial struggles. He's got custody issues going on. He does care for Trudy very well. She seems very affectionate. And a lot of times in literature, authors will indicate this person is not so bad by
Mhm.
showing their relationship with animals to be a positive one or
Yeah,
to show that they have that soft side. And
yeah.
I'm going to pivot a little bit because we do have a lot of lines blurring between our good guys and bad guys. Whether villain or hero, our main characters in this novel really have strong ties to family and love of, or at least fascination with, whether it just be monetary, with dinosaurs. So it created that interesting dynamic where values aligned across that good guy, bad guy divide that we usually see to be quite a solid line.
Mhm.
What ways did you explore these values to make the villains seem villainous and make the heroes seem heroic?
I feel like for Cam and Viv as the heroes, they kind of see what Sorkor is doing. Um, and then with EA and her father Theo, they discover that a little bit more. But yeah, once they actually learn a couple things from Theo, they realize just really the depths of what Sorkor is willing to do. For Sebastian, I kind of wanted there to be him as the villain, and then there's the villain's villain of Bartolone that kind of gives him that conscience check, right? Because as soon as he hears that Bartolone is selling the dinosaurs for food and other things, which is funny because there have been many readers that have contacted me going, "You have people eating dinosaurs? Really?" And I go, "Have you not seen the old Flintstones movie?"
It's a dino steak.
where they're eating dino ribs and, cracking a pterodactyl egg for breakfast and all this stuff. Um, but yeah, it was such a fun concept of how do you make the villain realize that what they're doing is wrong,
Hmm.
right? Because for so many villains, they believe that they're right all the time because of what they've been through. And having the custody battle and everything, and getting asked that question from Felicia of, what if these were your kids?
Mm. Oh, and
Like, I
that
think,
throws him for a loop. Like I love
yeah,
his
oh,
reaction is
yeah,
so visceral because it's like,
yeah,
don't make me confront my own issues.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I have had some people say, these are characters in the book that are teenagers, and some of the readers I have had are ages 10 and up. Some people have asked me, why would you put a custody battle in a book? And I said, you know what? 9-year-olds and 10-year-olds go through that too.
Yeah.
It's just how do you approach it? Do you get like super detailed into how everybody feels about it, or do you just show that this is something that happens in life? Like in Primeval Ranch, the main character of Lucero, she loses her mom to cancer. We find that
Mm.
out very early on in the book. Kids go through that too. But I want my books to be able to show kids that these are things that happen in life, but I don't dwell like super, super close on a custody battle because, if they do want to ask questions, they can ask their parents,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and there's such a it's such an interesting, and we could probably have our own episode just on this, on
Mm,
what is appropriate for children and what is not. And the more we hide and the more we shelter, the less prepared children are. If we present
yes.
these issues in the safety of a book, because this is,
Hmm.
although it may hurt your heart when the dragons cry, it will not hurt you. And so if we can go through that and experience those things with the characters, see that how they react, and see how some characters have their fathers disappear on them and they still turn out to be really lovely, caring, kind humans like Emily
Hmm.
Ann. Some characters have custody battles that maybe start to twist their heart, and there is a point where they can come back. Like we can choose how these things shape us.
Hmm.
But if we never get exposed to that,
That's just it.
and we just feel alone. Yeah, I think the beauty of a book is that we're not alone. A lot of these things are universal. So no, I love
Yeah.
that you added that. It added such depth to what could have been a mustache twirling bad guy.
Mm,
Because
yeah, yeah.
we see him in ultimate bad guy mode at the beginning. And so then we're
Hmm.
that's our impression, and we're constantly struggling like, no, don't show care for this cute little fridge dinosaur. You have to be evil the whole time.
Yeah. No, I really loved writing Sebastian. We do see the character of Sebastian all through the series, not as much in Primeval Ranch, though he does show up for like a few chapters. Um, yeah, it's even just I won't give away too many spoilers, but it's an interesting journey just for the Corporation of Sorkor as well
There we
throughout
go.
everything. But he was such a fun villain type character to write. I don't know. There is a bit of me in there, I guess, as authors usually put a bit of themselves into each character.
Mhm.
Um, but I think ultimately it's just if I was in any of those characters' shoes, I just want to go up to a dinosaur and hug it.
Yeah.
Really. I don't care if it tries to eat me or whatever, but I'm going to try to hug it. I may even bring a saddle.
Well, and our teenage protagonists, I think, are a great lens to look through what it's like to be thrown into the past all of a sudden. You've still got your backpack with your swimsuit in it
Mm,
on. Uh, you throw them into the past, and the first thing they do is, I think, is it Vivian or Cam who climbs onto the back of
Cameron.
the
Yeah, the Amargasaurus.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, climbs onto the back and then gets lifted up, and then Vivian is kind of following one of the smaller ones into the trees, which is
This guy,
there we go.
the Amargasaurus.
Yeah, it was very much that scene from Land Before Time where you are zoomed in on the
Yep.
dinosaur's head and it just keeps going and going, and you
Yep.
realize how long those long necks are.
Yeah.
Actually, I will say anyone who is like loving of references and throwbacks and the
Pop
nostalgia,
culture.
pop culture, there we go.
Yep.
This book is full of that, and you feel like someone is speaking to your heart, especially like the 90s references. I just adored
Yes.
because it's like, oh, I think, and I want to talk about our teen romance. So, teen
Hmm.
romance is something that is a tale as old as time. Although this
Tale
time,
as old as
tale as
time.
old as time. And there really was that, I think there's something there that wasn't there before
Mm-hmm.
moment between the two as they're slowly falling for one another.
Yeah,
But how did the prehistoric and dino-filled setting help or hinder this budding romance?
that is a great question. I feel like when things are or go unsaid, and you kind of have that space in the real world, or in present day, I should say, being thrown into the past, especially when you're faced with that, am I gonna get home or
Mhm.
not? It's like, should I finally say what's on my mind and in my heart? And for Vivian, she does kind of go on that little bit of a journey. But for Cameron, who's been kind of aloof,
Oblivious.
oblivious, less, yeah, oblivious, definitely. It's kind of like being thrown in the past gave him that new lens of seeing Vivian a different way than just this is my best friend,
Hmm.
right? And I find like I've been married, we just had our 13th anniversary. Um,
Congratulations.
Thank you. And when you realize that you have found your best friend and you've been with your best friend for 13 plus years, I think even in the early times, like I fell first. I know I did for my wife. And for Cameron, it was more of a wow, like I never noticed, really just how pretty she is or, things like that. And it's just like, you know what, your best friend is really the person you would want to spend the rest of your life with.
Or more realistically, Cameron sees her stab a giant
That too,
millipede
the
in full
millipede,
Rambo
yes.
style
Yes.
and
Fair
goes,
warning for everybody. There are giant prehistoric bugs in Dino Rift.
yes, if that is something that is iffy, then just close your eyes for those parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But Vivian was pretty I don't know if you use this word in a podcast, but pretty badass in that
Yeah,
in that chapter.
very badass. I love that. Yeah, it wasn't so much like, oh, the sunlight caught her
Yeah,
hair
right.
this way. It was more like, whoa, you just slayed that
Whoa.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, she's like, I don't want this knife anymore. It's covered in bug guts. Use it
Yes.
all.
Yeah. Gross.
Yep. But push come to shove, Viv is yeah, she's pretty courageous.
He's a formidable opponent for sure. And
Yes.
just keeping her nerve in a fully, it's like Alice in Wonderland turned up to 11.
Hmm. Yep.
And then can you share a favorite quote or passage from your novel?
There's one that I know even some reviewers have left in the reviews on Goodreads and Amazon, just of how, you can be defined essentially in a way, but definitions can change. And I don't know if you got to that part yet, but that is something that is kind of in regards to Sebastian. And I find in this world, we as humans tend to define things very quickly,
Mm, we're quick to cut things down.
right? Like as soon as someone makes a mistake, it's, oh, cancel, or you're
Mhm.
done, or I don't even want to talk to you anymore. But, you know, people's definitions can change because either you're going to double down or that person might have the humility to apologize.
Mhm.
But the fact that you've taken that moment and already decided in your head, I don't like this person or what they did or what they said, you don't give them the chance to make amends or
Mhm.
change because you think once they've done that, that's all they are.
Yeah. Or even learn and grow. My
That
values when I
too.
was a teenager are very different to my values as a 30-year-old, and I think they'll
Yep.
probably be different again when I'm 60. And imagine being held to a view you had when you were young, dumb, and
Yeah.
didn't know any better.
And the thing for me that really goes with that belief that I have is when I was young in school, I was bullied by the same kid for 5 years in a row. He emotionally wrecked me, never physically, just emotional. Um, and then later in life, once my family had opened our olive oil shop, his younger brother, who had also terrorized one of my friend's little brothers, walked in. I wasn't there. My parents talked to him, and they relayed to me him talking about his family life. And he was saying that both him and his brother, the one that terrorized me, had a very emotionally abusive father,
Mm.
which really hammered home for me that, again, for every villain, there's another villain.
Yes.
And now, if I was to see my bully again, knowing the information I know now, I would shake his hand and say, you did not deserve to have that happen to you. Obviously, I was your target
Mm.
for a lot of it because you were probably going through something. But I mean, we can all make our choices. Villains make their choices, whatever. But really, in this world, we're all a victim of something.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that really needs to be shown that, you could see Sebastian as the villain until you realize this is what's happening in his personal life.
Yeah.
And then this is the guy that just made him realize, oh crap, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, and it's so true. It's that whole thing, right? The hurt people,
yep,
and you have the option at every step of your journey to change how you treat others. But of course, it is so much easier for a hero who has a loving family, lovely friends, to stay a hero because they haven't had to fight for that heroism in the
yep,
same way that someone who's had the emotional and physical crap kicked out of them every day since they were born,
yep,
if they're able to turn that around, how powerful.
yeah. And I know for me, like I've had my bad days.
Hmm.
I've had it where I've yelled at someone over the phone because I didn't understand the full situation, you know, especially people at KDP when books don't come in properly,
Yes.
when
Yeah.
you're kind of under a wire. No, yeah, I've had my day like that. But, we're the villain in someone's story.
Hmm.
That's a popular line that we like to use as authors. But yeah, it's finding that solace. It's finding a way of, yeah, I used to define him as my bully, but now that I know deeper parts of what happened to him in his life, he's just a regular human being that was trying to get through the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that quote, and I can't remember who said it. I'll look it up and pop it in the description down below. But it's we're all here just walking each other home.
Yeah,
And once you realize that, I think it's quite liberating because everyone's got their own
I
backpacks
love
and
that.
baggage, and they're bringing a lot of crap along the way, but we're just here to walk alongside.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Rub shoulders, or I'll put my arm around your shoulders.
Yeah,
That's, yeah.
very true. Oh my
Yep.
gosh. See, dinosaurs, kindness and dinosaurs. That's all the world needs.
Yep. Exactly. Maybe
And
even a movie or TV show of it too.
maybe even several.
Maybe.
Why not make it a
Maybe. Who
series?
knows? Why not?
We love the series nowadays. You can just keep watching.
Binge it.
And so do you have any exciting projects coming up next?
So, I do have after Primeval Ranch, I'm working on the prequel to Dino Rift because everybody loves a good prequel. I love foreshadowing. There's something about foreshadowing that I just, you put little things in there and people who read it later are going to go, ah, I know what happened. Um, Sorko Origins, where we see Sorkor in its early beginnings and when they hire Theo for the first time. Um, and kind of what's going on in his personal life at that point too. EA is a big part of it, which is funny because when I first had the cover made for it, um, it only had Theo on the front. And then as I was writing it, I'm going, EA is a bigger part of this book than I thought she was going to be. And so I went back to my cover artist and I said, can you put EA on the front of this too? And she goes, yeah. And it took a little bit to find the right model, but we eventually got like the perfect look for EA. Um, other than that, I did mention the whole saber-tooth tiger thing in
Yes.
Primeval Ranch,
Hmm.
which the coming soon shows that it's sent to a post-apocalyptic future And the saber-toothed tiger befriends a 7th century English woman who has to help the last of mankind take down evil sentient android robots. So
Wonderful.
it's like sci-fi at its core. I also have from my Ultimate Agent series when I introduced Bigfoot or plural, I still don't know if it's Bigfoots or Big Feet. Still, anyone want to chime in on that? Let
Oh,
me know.
big foos.
Big Foos?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, I introduced a child Bigfoot that I want to later have as a teenage or young adult Bigfoot that wants to enter society
Ah,
and just see how he views humanity under his lens and how humans could see him and be like, oh, yeah, you're one of the very few Bigfoot in the world. Watch out for the hunters.
classic. Yep. Very cool.
So a
So
lot
this,
of things burning on different burners of the stove here.
yeah, a lot going on, some simmering, some bubbling, and maybe there's
Yeah,
a timer going off soon. So that's very exciting.
hopefully.
And how do we keep tabs on all of these great new projects? Where can we find you online?
Yeah, Facebook, TikTok. I don't use Instagram as much as I should, but I'm on there. And I also have a podcast with a lovely author named Libby Weber from Okinawa, Japan. She lives on a military base there. It is called the Novel Network Podcast, where we talk to everybody in the book world, whether you're an author, an editor, a cover designer. Hopefully, season 2, we're going to do our ARC reader and beta reader season and see how they view books and the bookish world. And just we digress, we have fun, we talk food, we talk everything. So, yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. And it's so interesting because it's one thing to be a writer and author who's written a book, and then you start to find all the different parts of this industry. And it is a
Yep.
wild ride. Like, there's so much that I'm still learning, and
Yep.
there's so many things that you think, oh, that should be easy. I'm sure there's a wiki how that'll tell
Yeah,
me
yeah.
how to do that. And it is not. It is a maze and a labyrinth.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic that you're kind of shining the light on different elements of the book industry that really, when a book comes out, it's just one name, usually on the cover, but so many people are behind the scenes making these books shine.
Yeah. And I know my wife is not a big person to be on like camera, but I did put her name at the bottom of the book along with mine for Primeval Ranch.
Oh.
Because even, if we have the partner or the spouse, sometimes they can be a big part of the whole process too. I know for me, 2023 was a massive, like, I couldn't write a thing.
Mm.
I went to a big dip, but she was there as my support through that whole year. Of course, as soon as 2024 hit, my brain's like, okay, let's go. All good. But even just trying to get back in the saddle, there were parts where I hit a little bit of, the writing wall, so to
Mm.
speak, the writer's
And those are
block.
called thinking days.
Yes, yeah. But she helped me brainstorm a ton for Primeval Ranch just to help keep things going. And I wanted to give her the recognition she deserved. And yeah, it's like, how often does someone shine a light on the cover designer or the formatter?
Mm.
It was her decision for the scene breaks to have the little dinosaur between each scene break. I didn't even come up with that. She did that, and I was like, "This is brilliant. I love it." Audiobook
Amazing.
narrators, we have them on too for the podcast.
Perfect. Oh, and
And
they do an
yeah.
incredible job just keeping
Oh,
the voices consistent between
yeah,
the characters. And the when you are listening to an audiobook and you can hear the smile,
yeah,
that's when I'm like, yes, they know what's up. It's not
yeah.
just saying the words, you need the emotion behind the words.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah. I found even for me with Isabella Tugman, who did Dino Rift, she is Vivian. Like as soon as she gave me her sample and I heard her do Vivian's voice, I went, yeah, this is Vivian.
Alrighty, Derek, it has been such a treat chatting with you about
This has been
Dino
fun.
Rift. Thank you so much for your time. And also, if anyone wants to get a signed copy, I noticed you have a form on your website
I do.
for that. So
I do.
I'll put that in the link. I'll put your website link. Oh,
Leave
and
it
then
to
there's the
right
other
here
one.
to
Perfect.
Sorcore Salvation and Primeval Ranch, just released on April 15th.
Perfect. Well, it's been such a treat for everyone who has tuned in to watch or to listen. Thank you so much for listening. I put out new episodes once a month with no set date. So if you subscribe or follow on Spotify or YouTube, you won't miss anything. And wherever you are, however you came here, I hope you're living magically.